Welcome back to my reviews of my favorite Transformers cartoon ever, Beast Wars. In today's review, we're taking a look at the two-part Season 1 finale, Other Voices. In these two episodes, the Vok arrive on Earth to sterilize their experiment, meaning wiping out all life on the planet. How will the Maximals and Predacons survive? We begin with the Vok entering the solar system.
Looks like our unknown friends have finally arrived.
Just what we need. A visit from the landlord.
Meanwhile, the Spiders scheme to sneak on board the Axelon and use one of their stasis pods to make an escape vehicle. Rat Trap and Airazor go to investigate the alien landing site, where the device there knocks them out. In more ways than one. You know, because it puts Airazor in stasis lock, and it blasts Rat Trap out of the area. It then turns into a kind of flat, mushroom-shaped house. As Airazor is tortured inside the alien Toad House, Rat Trap faces off against Waspinator.
We got a ceasefire going, remember?
So, Waspinator not shoot?
Problem is, you fight with a rat. You better fight dirty.
Ouch! Come on, Rat Trap. No need to go for Waspinator's stinger.
Oh yeah, he doesn't like that.
Wait, did Scott McNeil just do an impression of himself? I mean, he plays both Waspinator and Rat Trap. So not only is he fighting himself in this scene, but he also did an impression of one of his characters in the voice of one of his other characters. That's some Mel Blanc stuff right there. Again, ouch! If Rat Trap keeps this up, Waspinator's robot mode is going to match his beast mode. You know, because Waspinator's beast mode is technically female. And if Rat Trap keeps hitting him in the crotch, he's gonna turn his outie into an innie.
Waspinator thinks area is secure enough.
So when the other Predacons arrive, Scorponok opens the way for Optimus and Rat Trap to go in and rescue Airazor. Rat Trap drags her out, but Optimus stays and gets tied up with these... how do I phrase this? Cables, that's it. Let's call them cables. Phew, dodged one there. Meanwhile, the Spiders sneak past the Maximal shield.
Spiffy little gizmo, huh?
We'll move in by the roof hatch.
This kind of reminds me of how in one of the last Beast Wars comic book issues, Black Arachnia was able to simply walk through the Axelon shield because she was technically still a Maximal at the time. Inferno has a more direct approach by simply tunneling under the shield. Although, if it was that easy, why didn't the Predacons try doing that before? Oh, right, they did. When the Vok finally finish scanning Optimus, they reveal themselves.
Unicron!
We have no physical form you could comprehend. We chose this figure of authority from your data tracks.
No physical form you could comprehend? Right, because it's real hard to comprehend a floating skull. Although, maybe that's just how they represent themselves to us, not their true form, making it easier for us to understand them, as opposed to just being some glowing balls of light or something. It's kind of like how when we see Transformers talking on Cybertron or something like that, where Earth and humans aren't part of the equation, we hear or read them in English or other language of choice. But in reality, they're probably speaking Cybertronian. We just get it in English because that's what we understand. Basically what I'm saying is that every piece of Transformers fiction you've ever seen is either dubbed or translated in one way or another. So if you want to be a real Transformers weeb, you've gotta watch or read it in the original Cybertronian. So, the Vok state that the Maximals and Predacons' interference has contaminated their project, and that the planet will be sterilized. It's never explained what the Vok's experiment was in the show, although in additional fiction, It's basically confirmed that they're an evolution of the Swarm from the G1 comics, which destroyed humanity, but later regretted their actions and wished to atone for them. Apparently their goal was to basically reboot the Earth and the human race, making them a stronger, better species, less reliant on harmful sources of energy. That's why they seeded the planet with Energon, to provide humans with a clean energy source that wouldn't pollute the environment. The Vok would have guided humanity, basically playing God, in order to help them along the path to enlightenment. Although, take that all with a grain of salt, because, again, this was all in ancillary fiction, not written by the original writers. The spiders break into the Axalon and take Rhinox and Dinobot by surprise. Although, I have a question. Where exactly are those webs connected? In the second part of this finale, we see the Earth's second moon has been transformed into a giant planet-busting weapon of mass destruction. Inside the Axalon, the spiders are working on turning a stasis pod into an escape pod, when they are interrupted by Inferno.
You're no match for me. Burn, treasure, burn!
You know, it's interesting how they did this fire effect here. I'm guessing that CGI wasn't yet advanced enough to create fire effects like you'd want here. So it looks like they actually composited in some real fire stock footage. And it mostly works, except for maybe this last part.
Cheetor and Tigetron are coming.
Oh, terrific! Now we can all get reduced to hot burning slag together.
Shut up, Rat Trap!
After taking out Inferno, Black Arachnia uses the VR goggles to connect to Tarantulas' mind in order to get the information she needs to complete the stasis pod. I wonder, could you consider this an early version of the cortical psychic patch? It definitely seems to function in the same way. And as we see in a moment, it allows Tarantulas to get into Black Arachnia's head, much in the same way that Megatron got into Bumblebee's. When Tigetron and Cheetor are ordered to get Rhinox and Dinobot down, we can briefly see that Tigetron has an Armblade, which he has otherwise never used in the show. Although it's definitely more Baraka style from Mortal Kombat, I think it's pretty cool that Tigetron actually has a sword in the show. Because in the Japanese Beast Wars manga, Tigetron was portrayed more as a samurai, with a sword and everything. Now I want an upgrade for Kingdom Tigetron that gives him a katana. So the Vok's Planet Buster activates, and it begins microwaving the Earth.
By the Matrix, no! They're going to ignite the Energon deposits!
Simply to deal with us. What sheer ruthlessness, what disregard for sentient life. I rather like these aliens.
Waspinator not want to be destroyed. Waspinator has plans.
Back on board the Axalon, Rat Trap and Air Razor are on the hunt for the spiders. And I must say, I like how Air Razor has her own gun, which seems to be a recolor and slight remodel of Rat Trap's gun with a modified version of her own helmet on it. It actually looks pretty cool. I kind of wish her Kingdom toy came with this instead, although she does seem to be holding it weird in this shot. So they catch Black Arachnia just as she completes her modifications to the stasis pod, and Optimus Primal formulates a plan.
And I'm betting I can fly close enough to take it out.
With what? One of your famous "we can do it" speeches?
A transwarp explosion.
You realize this is crazy.
Sometimes crazy works.
Not only has this been cited as Optimus Primal's motto, which is a far cry from freedom is the right of all sentient beings, but it's also kind of crazy to think. This is basically the first time we've ever seen Black Arachnia ally herself with the Maximals. Obviously, in Season 3, she would eventually join the Maximals, and in Beast Machines, she was a core cast member. But it's just funny to think that this might be where it all started for her. It would have been nice of the writers to sow in some seeds of doubt into Black Arachnia's mind in this episode. You know, Getter started thinking about how maybe she should join the Maximals.
Thanks for your help.
Better you than me.
Whatever happens out there, I want you to know that you're the finest crew I've ever served with.
Ugh. Do Maximals always talk such slop?
And so, Optimus launches the stasis pod and flies straight towards the planet Buster. But unfortunately, Megatron has other plans.
Oh, you Optimuses do love to sacrifice yourselves, don't you? The Beast Wars are over, Optimus. You lose.
5, 4, 3.
Trapped in the stasis pod, the Transwarp cell explodes, destroying both Optimus and the planet Buster. And in the debris, you can spot not only Optimus's chest plate, but also his still screaming head. Wow, are you trying to give kids nightmares, Mainframe? And that's the end of this two-parter and Season 1 of Beast Wars. Well, quite a way to end off a season, right? I'm certainly glad they got a Season 2, otherwise this would be a huge cliffhanger. First of all, I'd like to point out some of the amazing transition shots that Mainframe did in these two episodes. Some may think they're corny, but I think it's really cool and pretty impressive that they were able to do this at the time. Just think, not only did they have to storyboard these transitions, but somebody had to come up with the idea for them in the first place. It's this kind of stuff that makes me really wish I could talk to some of the old Mainframe animators and ask them what inspired them to do this for the finale. Like I mentioned earlier, the Vok are a fairly mysterious entity, or entities, and even hardcore Beast Wars fans don't know much about them or their true motives. Only speculation and theory. I'll be interested to see what they do with them in the current Beast Wars comic book. Will they be benevolent or malevolent? Only time will tell. And finally, Optimus Primal's death might be up there with Optimus Prime's death in the movie. Although, I'm not sure. I might have been too young to remember at the time, but I don't recall bawling my eyes out like Daniel and so many other G1 kids did when their Optimus died. Maybe I was just desensitized to death in Beast Wars at that point, because death seemed impermanent in the show. I mean, just how many times have we seen Waspinator or other Transformers blasted to bits, and they just chuck their parts in the CR chamber and they're fine? But yes, quite the dramatic end to Season 1 of Beast Wars. Which reminds me, in Japan, they had to wait so long between Season 1 and Season 2, they actually created 2 of their own sequel or sidequel shows, Beast Wars II and Beast Wars Neo. Maybe I should review them next instead. Nah, maybe when I'm done all of Beast Wars. So, what about you? What did you think of this episode of Beast Wars? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you here next week for the Season 2 premiere episode of Beast Wars, Aftermath. I can't wait. Season 2 is where we really get some of the best episodes of not just Beast Wars, but all of Transformers. So I'll see you back here next time for that.